Yes.
Good evening to everyone. It's been an incredible journey so far in the AICTE sponsored ATAL Faculty Development Program, filled with fascinating insight and cutting edge development. As we move to the next technical session, that is session number 6, we are about to delve into an area that is revolutionizing modern healthcare and manufacturing in additive manufacturing in biomedical applications. This session promises to uncover the incredible potential of additive manufacturing or 3D printing in creating innovative solutions for biomedical challenges. To guide us through this integrating session, we have with us an eminent researcher and distinguished expert, Dr. Ashutosh Bagde. We are honored to welcome our today's expert, Dr. Ashutosh Bagde. He is Additional Director of Bionest at Datta Mege Institute of Higher Engineering Research Institute at Varda and Assistant Professor of Biomedical Engineering at DMIHER Varda. An accomplished researcher with a PhD in Mechanical Engineering from Vishweshwariya National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. Dr. Ashutosh specializes in 3D printing, tissues engineering, and organ regeneration. His work has earned him 2 patents and over 30 peer-review publications. He has successfully led multiple high-impact funding projects with BIRAC, Indian Council of Medical Research (ICMR), and Department of Science and Technology (DST), advancing innovations in biomedical engineering and healthcare. Dr. Ashutosh's expertise in additive manufacturing and biomaterial continues to drive the impactful research and innovation in the healthcare. So, without wasting any time, Bagde sir, it's over to you.
Okay, thank you, Nilesh, and thank you very much for introducing me. I'm thankful to organizers, especially Jadu sir and Dr. Abhay, for considering me as one of the resource person. I just learned whatever the things I'm doing. One of the first mentor for me is Jadu sir. He is my PhD, PG guide, and I'm entered into this domain of biomedical with his guidance and all. And later I get nurtured in under Professor Kuthe. Before me, we finished one talk from Dr. Sandeep Dahake, who is my senior from the same batch, and you might find whatever the we and so me and Dr. Sandeep has learned, there might be some similarity because the resources for us is the same, Professor Kuthe. So whatever we are doing, whatever the best thing we are doing, that is only because of the faculty members and the teachers like Dr. Jaju and Dr. Kuthe and my colleagues. What I learned from them, and I'm just trying to represent what work we are doing with some overview of 3D printing. So I request recently we just got this Bionest DMIHR project. So we are Central India first bio incubation center. I request all the members of this FDP program to just go through our Bionest DMIHR website. Just Google Bionest DMIHR, and you can find a tab where we can be a partner with us, be a collaborator with us, and we can discuss some another program about how we can collaborate. But we are ready to collaborate for any kind of biomedical engineering and any kind of research activity. So without further ado, I would take you to our presentations, and I request all the members to write your question answers, and then I'm really happy to take them at the end of the presentations. So before starting about the 3D printing and all, it is important to understand the manufacturing process. Already this FDP is started today backs, and you might be aware, but still to connect you with what I am trying to say, I will take you through some parts of the additive manufacturing, which you people are already aware, but it is only to prepare your backgrounds for this study. So in manufacturing process, we broadly divide it into the 4 categories. One is the forming, in which what we are doing, we have just putting the heated material and press it with the high pressure and to get the final outcome. Then another is a subtractive manufacturing. We are using a block of material which will be machined to get the final outcome, and we are just removing the material, subtracting the material. Another part of manufacturing is a casting, where we are creating a kind of mold, and we are putting the molded metal inside to get it solidified. And once the solidification is done, then we are getting the final product. These all 3 are the conventional manufacturing process. And the another non-conventional manufacturing process, which is the main theme of this FDP, is about the additive manufacturing. So in additive manufacturing, everyone knows what we are doing. We are adding the material one layer over the another layer, and we will get the final product to be produced. So the comparison between subtractive manufacturing and additive manufacturing is that when we are doing the subtractive manufacturing, whatever the material we are getting, we are creating a lot of waste with that, the scrap material what we are talking about. While in additive manufacturing, what we are doing to the material which we are getting with the final 3D object, a minimum amount of waste has been created, which is in the form of the support systems which we are creating. So this is basically a two difference between the subtractive manufacturing and additive manufacturing. The waste which is generated through the subtractive manufacturing is very high, and the waste which is generated through the additive manufacturing is very less. So this point, at least you should remember with all these things. So what is the additive manufacturing? If we talk about, so process of joining the material to make the object in three-dimensional, usually by layer is commonly called as a 3D manufacturing. So manufacturing component with virtual and no geometrical limit or tool. So if you are talking about the subtractive manufacturing, there is always a limitations because engineering works with the linearity. So if you are there are some non-linear component which we need to manufacture. So there is always a limitation. But in 3D printing or 3D manufacturing or additive manufacturing, it is not there. So secondly, you mostly heard the word about the rapid prototyping, additive manufacturing, free from fabrication, 3D printing. So these are all are the synonyms. There is no difference between all these manufacturing process. It is only the name which is given or a synonym which is given to them. The main advantage which 3D printing gives to us is the designing for manufacturing to the manufacturing for design. So mostly when you are doing conventional manufacturing subtractive, we are designing the component from the manufacturing process. So we always need to think what is the manufacturing process which we are implying for this. So based on that, we need to do design optimizations. While 3D printing, 3D printing, we are using the manufacturing process which is as per the design. If your design are non-linear in nature, so we 3D printing has the advantages to manufacture it, and it has some distinguished difference between the conventional subtractive manufacturing process as shown in this figure. So the general process which we use for the 3D additive manufacturing process, first is about the geometry development. So for this, we need to use any kind of CAD model or CAD software like CATIA, Creo, and uh, whatever the software you people have, Tinkercad and all. But there are many freewares which is available for the geometry development. Then once we are developing the geometry in three dimensions, we need to do a convert that 3D model into the STL format. STL format is basically a surface geometry format, which the printer can understand the geometry. So we need to convert it into the STL. After once we are doing converting the STL format, we need to do a material processing and layering, where we need to convert that 3D model into the number of slices, and each slice is then printed by the 3D printer by adding one layer over the another layer to get the final object. So advantages when we are talking about, it's give the freedom from design, complexity for free. Potentially, we are eliminating the tooling, so the whatever the problem exists with the conventional manufacturing process about the tool wear and tear, it is not with the 3D manufacturing. It is lighter in weight. We have the freedom to decide the infill starting from the 10%, 20%. It basically depends upon the geometry which we have selected. So we can make a material more lighter in design, and we can completely eliminate the production step, which we always need to think about when we are doing the conventional manufacturing. Although it has some kind of advantages, similarly, it has some kind of disadvantages. And the first disadvantage, which is associated with this 3D printing, is slow building rate. So in conventional manufacturing, you can produce 100 pieces of part in 1 hour. But in 3D printing, it is very slow. That some of the time it is very difficult to produce one part only in the 10 or 20 hours. So this is one of the disadvantages, as it is printing one layer over the another layer, so it will take some time. High production cost. So although many people will say that 3D printing may not be a high production cost, but it basically depends upon what kind of resolution you want. So there are FDM 3D printer nowadays available from 20K onward, but the quality of that printer, the quality which we are getting with that printer, and the quality which we are getting with the market leader like Stratasys and other companies is really different. The cost of 20K printer and the Stratasys which cost 25 lakh and the quality optimization repeatability, what we are getting with such high input is definitely something remarkable, and that's why the cost of production is very high, and it requires considerable efforts to application and design, and it is a discontinuation production process, and only a limited component can be produced with this 3D printing process, additive manufacturing. So it has some kind of advantages and disadvantages. The question basically is in my mind that when we need to select the additive manufacturing. So these two graphs which are shown over here are basically helpful to understand that when we need to select the additive manufacturing process. As you see in the first graph, uh, the cost of unit when you are manufacturing with 3D printer, the cost of one unit which costs suppose $1,000. If you are producing 10,000 part, it again costs you the $1,000. So the cost per unit of for production in additive manufacturing is the same. While in we are talking about the subtractive manufacturing process, the cost per unit actually increase with the design complexity. So as the complexity of the design is more complex, the cost of production is very high. While in additive manufacturing, the cost of production is not is constant with the design complexity. Now, the in second graph, when you see about how we can achieve the break even or what is the cost per unit. So for additive manufacturing, cost per unit is the same. It does not relate with the volume of manufacturing component. While in conventional manufacturing, the cost per unit reduce with the high amount of volume to be manufactured. So when we need to use this for formative manufacturing for high volume production, subtractive manufacturing we need to use when simple geometry at intermediate volume, and additive manufacturing we need to use only in case of the volume complex at the and at a very low volume. This point, at least you should, as a faculty member or as a researcher who would like to work in the 3D printing, just always need to remember. I interacted with many students, many faculty, and many of them will think, yeah, the 3D manufacturing is like something a magic for them, but it is not magic when we are calculating the cost associated with the manufacturing process. So always you need to be a choosy, always you need to be critically review that when we need to employ the additive manufacturing, unless and until there is no complexity in the design, it does not make any sense to have the manufacturing process to be use the additive manufacturing for production. The higher complexity in design with the low volume, if there is higher complexity with more volume, for the same we required 1 lakh of pieces of any kind of some gear or something, and we are using the additive manufacturing, it makes no sense. If you require a 1 lakh of gear with the highly complex gear system, then it is always better to go with the conventional manufacturing, subtractive manufacturing, to use some CNC VMCs and produce that. So it will drastically reduce your cost of productions. So this point we always need to remember. Now, what are the types of the additive manufacturing when we talk about? So rapid prototyping basically a material addition process. It's not a material removal process. It basically divided into the three category. One is about the liquid, second is about the discrete particle, and third is about the solid state particle. So when we are talking about the liquid, it is basically solidification of the liquid polymer. So if you are taking any kind of photocurable polymer and you are putting some kind of UV rays on that, on which it will get cured. So you will get it can be used for the 3D manufacturing, which is called a DLP or SLA printing. Solidification of an electrolyte fluid also is one of the parameter for solid 3D additive manufacturing. And then solidification of molten material, which based on metal printing is also referred as the metal printing or DMLS printing, is one of the way of which comes under the liquid additive manufacturing process. Then fusion of particle by laser, which we are doing in SLS, is called as a discrete particle. So basically, in our upcoming slide, we will go about the discrete particles, what is meant by that. And joining of particle by using the binder, which is a 3D printing process, is also a discrete particle size. In upcoming slide, we will see some field video associated with this. And then solid sheet, basically bonding of sheet with the adhesive, is called as the solid sheet kind of additive manufacturing, and bonding of sheets with some kind of light is also called as the solid sheet additive manufacturing. So when we are categorizing the additive manufacturing process, is broadly categorized as the binder jet, material extrusion jet, So in material extrusion, it is liquid deposition modeling or fused deposition modeling. So FDM printer, which we already talk about, which comes from the 20,000 onward, is called as a FDM printer, which is very cheaply available, easily available. Then we have the powder bed fusion 3D manufacturing, which include selective laser melting, selective laser sintering, multi-jet fusion, and electron beam melting. So, uh, so actually, which kind of manufacturing process or additive manufacturing process we need to select is basically depend on the what material and what is the purpose of or functionality of the product we are expecting. So it basically depend on that. FDM printed part is always used as only for the prototyping. It cannot give the functionality. In some cases, means there is always a debate in between that. In some cases, definitely it can give you the functionality also, but it is only for the static structure or just for giving you the overview of that. But exactly functionality cannot be obtained with the FDM printing. Then we have the wet polymerization process. Similarly, then we have direct energy deposition where we are using lasers and all. Then material jetting process, nanoparticle jetting or drop on demand kind of jetting, and sheet lamination. So these are basically 6-7 kind of categories by which we can classify the additive manufacturing process. So first process that is most commonly we are using is the stereolithography. So it is most widely used in kind of rapid prototyping techniques where we are using this photocurable polymer material, and we are using the laser to cure it. So as shown in this figure, it is a photocurable polymer and it has the movable bed on which one layer is get cured, and then the movable table is lowered down by the one layer thickness, and the another layer will get solidified on that. So this kind of is basic technique is called as the historiolithography techniques. I just see we will get sound with that video. If you see how this SLA printing is done, we'll identify it. This is a plate build platform. On this particular part will be manufactured. Below one is the resin table where we are putting the photocurable resins. So instead of we need to wash the material for the extra material and get support system. So with this SLA printing, we can reduce the material from the softest part to the hardest part. This will show how the toughest or what is the strength of the SLA printed material in comparison with the FD printer. So this is about the SLA printing. Now, one of the another point, another printing process is laminated object manufacturing process. So this process is similar kind of mini 3D printing process where the material is in the form of spool. So material will come on the build platform. Then it will cut in the desired shape by using the laser cutting system. Once it is cut, it will get cutted, the roller will roll out, and it will give the fresh material to be placed on that, and it will get joined with by using the lasers. So it is kind of lamination of one layer over the another layer. That's why it is called as the laminated object manufacturing. So if you see, one of the main that control is the pattern. So because it's the it is how the the essence is about the SLA printing. So in SLA, what we are doing basically the SLA is basically we are using the laser to bind the two different kinds of particle together. So it consists of the powder bed and roller and one fabrication platform. So the one layer thickness of material will roll over the building platform. It will get sintered by using the lasers, and once it will center, the building platform will lower down by one layer thickness, and the fresh powder layer will roll over on that part. So so you can put a ribbon to fuse the material together by using the centering process. So centering is about getting the material about point 7 millimeter, and the people will allow to solidify. So this is the SLA printing process, which comprises the use of metal for producing the part for the end use without using any kind of tooling. And then the most common kind of technique is the FDM, fused deposition modeling. It is the simplest form of 3D printing, and it is basically a printing which created a boom in academia, or which created a boom in industry. The reason why this FDM printer has been so much popular, because the patent associated with the FDM printer are just finishes just 8 to 10 years back or 15 years back. It's only a one decade, we can say, that when the patent get finished by the company like Stratasys or the innovators, and that's why many of the people have started building the FDM printer, which make it more popular than the other additive manufacturing process. So what we are doing FDM printing, we are using the plastic filament which is in the form of the spool like a thread. it will roll to the extrusion nozzle where we are having the heater, which where with this spool form of material, plastic material will get melted and come out of the nozzle where it can be printed on the building platform. Once we are printing one kind of layer, then the building platform will lower down by one layer thickness, and then we are printing the another material on that. So process some. So it requires a kind of material, one for the model material and also with the support material. And to support it, it will be easy. So whatever the things we are thinking with the experience, requires some kind of post processing to get to this surface. So very common manufacturing process is a FDP process, which we are aware of. Just a minute. Then the next process is about 3D printing and binder jet freeform application, which is also called as the polyjet manufacturing. What we are doing in this binder jet printing, rather than melting the material which is in the form of spool, we are just spreading the material with a binder on this building platform. The difference between SLS or metal printing or this binder jet printing is that in metal printing we are using the laser material, the laser power to sinter or solidify or mold the material to get it solidified, while we are using in binder jet only a binder material which can bind the particle together. So as shown in this figure, it will from nozzle we are just spreading the binder in desired dimensions, and the on the powder which we need to solidify come out from the roller side, and it will attach to these binders. So it is the is about spreading the binder and the metal together. Like every student need to work with me to figure out the rating of my model in the paper. So these are different kind of basic technique which we are using. Now the next question which comes in our mind about the what we say, there are so much different kind of process. I think my screen gets stuck. It is somehow delayed. Yeah. So the next question basically comes in right now. There are a number of manufacturing additive manufacturing process. So what is the thumb rule for selecting the material or selecting the manufacturing process? So this is a generalized rule by which we can select the different manufacturing process for different component requirement. So this table basically give the elaborate or brief about the which kind of additive manufacturing process to be used for which kind of part. So what are the complexity associated? What is the limitations? So this table is basically inside about that. This table is readily available in 3D Hubs, and you can get more detail of that for understanding. So I'm not going to take you to all the technicality of these rules for 3D printing process. So basically, what is the timeline and application of 3D printing? So additive manufacturing or 3D printing started from 1988 onwards, and the first graph will show you about how it will get evolved itself. While even we are talking about the application, now 3D printing has the huge application in any kind of field. You just name it, you will find some kind of application. Basically, the 3D printing, especially the metal 3D printing process, is innovated only for the aerospace applications because it is the structure of the different component used in aerospace industries are so complex that it is very difficult to produce it with the normal subtractive manufacturing. So it is basically the need of invention of the metal 3D printing process. Then you can find the additive manufacturing in ornament or automobile, dentistry, electronic, furniture, implant and processes, jewelry. You just name the area and you will find there is always something with the 3D printing process that we can do. Toy manufacturing is also another area where people are using. Food is very good area where people right now not that much aware, but yes, they are using the 3D printed food for serving to the customers. Or ornament and jewelry sections, now everyone wants some kind of uniqueness in their jewelry. So 3D printing companies are there who are manufacturing the 3D printed jewelries. I will give some examples of that. So when we are talking about the 3D printing jewelry market, these are the some company Imaginarium or Redika Chesnani jewelries, which can produce the 3D printed jewelry for you. If you have some kind of requirement, you just go to their website. They will produce the 3D printed jewelry and customized jewelry as per your need. And when we are talking about the market size, it just you can see about 2017, what is the market size is about 902 USD dollars billions dollars, and 2070 27 how it is expected, just the 10 years of around. So it will give the clear cut picture what is the future of 3D printing. It is only the one segment of customized jewelry where such huge demand is always there existing, which is gating the growth with the 21% of CAGR. So another is about the application of 3D printed food. So there are this some company which use the 3D printing. Like ClearMate is a company. I just met the founder and co-founder. They are from the JNU, Delhi, and they produces the 3D printed meat for use for use. And Sugar and Spices are the company which produce this. Just the video to get more details of that. All are the editable food, which has been used to buy the 3D printing. So just go through the edible bites and you will find it very good kind of 3D printed food over there. So coming to our main topic, that application of 3D printing in the healthcare. So when you are talking for the healthcare, you just consider the human anatomy as a mechanical body. So it consists of different kind of structure, support, joints, some soft skins, soft toys, some cannulas and all. So these are basically can be 3D printing play a major role in manufacturing of this kind of things. So picture itself shows that we are manufacturing cranial plate, we are manufacturing some kind of cannulas, we are manufacturing the prototype for the fingers or acetabular cup and all. So it has a huge kind of applications. So when we are exactly talking about different kind of trades, so aligner, night split cards, these are basically dentistry applications where crown and bridges or temporary dentures or complete dentures are getting manufactured by using the 3D printing. Even in India now, there are some dentists who are using the 3D printing for providing their customers to a good level of satisfaction. 3D printing can also be used in any kind of tissue engineering. So in my next, maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow lectures, we will discuss more about how we can use the 3D printing for organ regeneration and tissue engineering. So it can be used for manufacturing of liver, bone, cartilage, cardiac muscles and all. And I personally touched the area of the bone in my PhD work. Cartilage right now we are doing, and cardiovascular project is also right now we are executing. So we will talk about this tissue engineering in our next lecture. And these are some area where 3D printing can be used for organ transplantation, tissue repair, drug discovery, food industry, and many more. So next my few slides are about the work which exactly we are doing with this 3D printing. So the work which I am showing is not only associated with me only, it is a completely a team efforts. And you can consider me only the face of our organization who is representing. No doubt I am one of the key role player in this research. So this is a study in which we are doing, which we already did with IISc Bangalore, Professor Basu. And what we are doing, we are trying to produce the 3D printed mold on which we can be mold PMMA material to get the cranial flap. So what we are doing, we are taking the CT scan image as shown over here from the patient. We are using the CAD model to reconstruct the scale. Then we are doing the 3D printing of the cranial mold. And then finally, we are getting fabricated the mold which is shown over here. And on this fold, we are just again doing the molding of PMMA material, which is polymethyl methacrylic material, which is widely acceptable in clinical scenario and which is already has the FDA approval also. And then it can be put it in the cranial part of the patient. So this picture basically help you to understand the differentiation between the pre-cranioplasty and the post-cranioplasty, how the contour of the skull gets maintained by using the additive manufacturing. So I personally did 10 cases along with our neurosurgeons. So in our organization, and a few of the images which I would like to share with this are here. So this is a patient. You can just find out the first patient where we are putting this 3D printed or 3D molded PMMA mold on patients. This is our patient 2. This is the patient 3, and this is of patient 4. So I did a 10 patient study, and we have published an article, very good article based on this study. And when we are saying ki, what is new in this, people are putting it, we are doing it a lot. So believe me, if you are a good researcher, if you are a good research scientist, if you have some kind of insight about the 3D printing, you will definitely come to know about the practically problem which getting associated with this kind of printing. So we also come to across with the problem when we did the 10 patient study. This 10 patient study was conducted in between corona period. So it is basically patient is recruited in after March 2020 because we started before in Feb, but patient get recruited from March 2020 and the study is continued for the 2 years till 2022. So what is happening, because the cranioplasty is not a mandatory surgery, it is the additional surgery which can be done in later on, which does not cause any functionality loss of patient. So the patient we recruit in for this clinical study, what we found in the CT scan which is associated with us is before the after the corona or before the corona, and the patient is operated after the COVID period. So there is slightly change in the bone formation of the flap we have manufactured. So as a researcher, it's our duty to find out what is the reason for that. Because when we are using 3D printing, we are using CAD. So it should be like the clinician can close his eye and he can place the flap over there and he can complete the surgery. But this is not true when we are doing. So we faced many challenges in that. So we are trying to address what is the challenge associated, and then we found out during the corona period the bone get remodeled. Now what the medical science says, it is very surprising to know that after 25 or 30 years there is a minute growth of cranial bone. If you touch your cranial part and you just look over there, you will find it is the hardest bone of our body. Why it is hardest bone? Because it is consists of the cortical bone. It is completely made up of the cortical bone, which is solid in nature. It does not have any kind of vascularization. It does not have any kind of angiogenesis, blood flow over there, and that is why it is a completely solid structure. And medical science say basically after 25 or 30 years, there is it is considered as no bone get regenerated in that part. And when we are exactly doing the 10 patient case study, we found there is slightly bone get regenerated. So we try to quantify that what is the bone regenerated. So the patient which we recruit for this are from the age of 18 to 70 years. So the 10 patient study we already did. We already published this article. I forget to mention the link of this, but you just Google with my name and you will find the article associated with me and Professor Basu from IRC based on this. So we identify the bone remodeling can also be possible with the age of 50 plus also. And we actually not identify, not commented only that bone will get remodeled because there is a span of 6 to 7 months of surgical gap. But we try to identify what kind of bone, what kind of we try to identify the quantification of bone get remodeled. So with this article, what we are doing, we use the pre pre-post surgical and after the follow-up we take a CT scan and we just overlap and we try to identify where is the bone get remodeled. So it is very frustrating for you when you are putting some technology, you are using some technology and clinician is believing on you and he is doing the surgery, and at the time of surgery or after finishing a surgery come out and will say, Ashutosh, what make a sense if we are doing the editing intraoperatively? So if we are using 3D printing and we are just trying to prove that technology will assist the clinician and the work we are doing, it's completely not that. So it is really the things we need to take upon a challenge for you that why it is happening. And we are following this and we try to find out the reason for that and we are completed with that. This is one of the novelty that we get to, we are able to publish the article with this novelty. So as a researcher, always there is many challenge associated with the additive manufacturing process also that we need to consider. This is the second project which we did with orthopedic surgeon. AICTE Kekatpuri is a very good friend of mine. He used to take lunch with us because he is pursuing his PhD in orthopedic and he has some work related with the 3D printing and CAD. So he used to come to our research center regularly. We used to take the lunch. So once we are just taking lunch, he shared one problem with us that is it possible to produce the mold, because what they are doing in hip replacement, the implant is not lifelong. It has some life of 10 to 12 years. After that, due to the bone formulation, osteoporosis, and many reasons, implant will get loosened. So what they are doing, they are removing that implant. They are putting some transient implant for 2 3 months, and after the 2 3 months, they are putting again a metallic implant. So while they are putting the transient implant, they are making the acetabular shape of acetabular with their hand. They are molding it with hand, and when they are molding with the hand, they are getting the irregular shape. So additive manufacturing basically constraint and all. So we designed, we actually studied some acetabular, and we produces almost 36 different dimensions of acetabular mold as shown in this figure in yellow color, and in which we are again putting the PMMA material to get it to produce the acetabular with which made up of PMMA. And the lower right corner you can see we did one clinical case study with that. So we completed one case study, and after the 3 4 days patient are able to walk. We have not produced this study because only not published this study because only one clinical case may not be a good case to present, but we are happy that we are created some positive impact in life, one patient life, where the patient is unable to walk after the 15 or 20 days. This patient is at least able to walk after the 3 days of the surgery. So we are thankful to the clinician for suggesting this problem. This is the one project which we already did with the VNIT. This is about surgical guide, and I think Dr. Sandeep has elaborated more. So this is a collaborated project with Dr. Sandeep, Professor Kuthe, and our institute and all. So we are able to produce the 3D printed surgical guide, and we are able to produce the 3D printed patient graft. So we did one clinical study where we have cutted the mandibular tumor by using the surgical guide. We put a 3D printed metal graft, which is shown in our right upper corner, and we followed the patient for the last 3-4 years, and the patient is quite good with the problem associated with the mandible. The lady has some different health issues, which is due to the age and all, but she is completely fine with the 3D printed craft and all. This is the project is basically we did with Dr. Sandeep, and he has explained about how he used the 3D printing for developing a surgical guide for surgical osteotomy, mandibular osteotomy. So he produces a graft, he produces a surgical guide which can be used for the mandibular tumor resection. I'm not going to touch it more because I hope that Dr. Sandeep has already explained, and he is the one person who can explain it more. So this is a collaborative project with our institute, our center, and Dr. Sandeep. He is were incubated in our in Bioness Center also. So that's why we are just showing that. We just completed one cadaver testing. So actually, when Dr. Sandeep and me are from the same lab, and we planned to complete a cadaver study in his PhD work, but we are unable to get the cadaver. But once I join in here, and we come to know that we can have a cadaver. So we completed 40 cadaver study with the surgical guide what he has developed, which is itself is a remarkable. Then this is one project which is funded by SERB, a CRG project. It is about development of functional bio for osteochondral tissue regeneration. We will touch this project in next presentation also. So what this consists of, it consists of the bio ink with the cell, which is used, which can be printed by using the 3D printing process. And it is expected that whatever things we are producing, it could be used for the osteochondral regeneration. So osteochondral is a part in our knee. So if arthritis, you people are known about what is the arthritis, the knee will get wear out, and it has caused the pain. So in that condition, we are trying to develop a scaffold. We are trying to develop a 3D printed part, which is capable of generating a bone from one side and generating a cartilage from another side. So combination of bone and cartilage is called as the osteochondral tissues. So we are working. We actually got a fund for that with ISC, and we are working on that. Then this is one project which is about to finish. It is about 3D printed skeleton tissue for customized phalange reconstruction. So in your finger, you will find the smallest bone joint, and the smallest bone is called as the phalanges. So we are producing a 3D printed phalanges for the bone regeneration. We have completed all in vitro study. We are now in process of completing the animal trial for that. And so once we are getting the animal trial result, we will go with the human trials for this. So we are, by using the 3D printing process, we are able to produce such kind of complex geometry. Then this is a next project which is very close to me because it has direct applications where we have treated some kind of patient. So it is basically a fabrication of silicone prosthesis by using the conventional digital workflow. So when you are talking about the prosthesis where the people lose its finger, ear, or eyes, so mucormycosis, you people are very well known about. After the COVID, many people have identified with the mucormycosis where they used to lose their eyes or some part of the maxillofacial sections. So once we are removing that maxillofacial sections, we are putting the artificial one, which is called as the prosthesis. So people without the finger, without the ear, we are putting some artificial non-functional thing which is called as the prosthesis. The conventional process is for this is taking the impression, preparing the wax pattern, and then matching the shade and converting again, making a negative mold of that, and then it has multiple exhaustive procedure and time consuming procedure. Now in digital workflow, this study actually we completed in Corona itself, COVID itself. So we completed 3-4 cases for that, and we published very good article based on this study also. So what we are using, we scan the defective part and non-defective part. Then we use the CAD model to create the mold of that as shown in right corner. So in step 3, then we have printed the 3D printed mold, inside which we are just putting the silicone, which is again FDA approved and widely acceptable by clinical fraternity. And then we produce the prosthesis of finger, which we deliver to the patient. So if you see the post prosthesis that is in right lower corner second picture, so you will just see that how we deliver the finger prosthesis to the patient with using the 3D printing and digital workflow. Now, the advantages of this 3D printing for us is about when we are conventionally manufacturing the prosthesis, the once this prosthesis get damaged. So in that condition, again, the exhaustive process of taking the impression, making the negative mold, then positive mold, then again negative mold, and then matching the shade and everything, we need to do it along. A long process, we need to repeat it again and again. Now with this digital mold, what we are doing, we are actually able to store the mold. Now when the patient will have damaged these things, which is already happened to us, then in the we can use the same mold for creating the prosthesis. So same mold can be used for creating the n number of prostheses, which definitely for the customer, for the patient, which is a very cost effective process, and from the clinician or technical point of view, which is a non-exhaustive process at all. So this is one of the best example how we can use the 3D printing for prosthesis development. This is one more case where we are developing the orbital defect by using the 3D printed mold. So if you see about the orbital defect, we just scan the entire face, then we did some CAD modeling, we have get the orbital mold, 3D printed mold, and we delivered the prosthesis to the patient. So if you see the last photo, lower left corner, you will find there is highly differentiation between the left and right eye of the patient. So uh, this is one more project which we did for the restoration and recreation of virtual prototype of maxillofacial defect. So the intention, it is the same patient which we have shown in previous slide about the orbital prosthesis. So all the previous things you will find about, we use the scanner. The cost of a scanner which we have is about 12 lakh. The same scanner which GHRCE also has. And when I did this study, I just hired this scanner from some Mumbai company while paying 15,000 per day. So I hired for the 2 days, I need to pay the 30,000. So basically, the question comes in my mind that when we are having such kind of smartphone that it can take the pictures from any direction, any angle, can we use this photogrammetric technique to produce a 3D printed part? So we come across with the standard operating procedure where we can use our smartphone to produce the 3D printed mold, 3D printed design. And once, sorry, 3D design. And once we are having that 3D design, by using the 3D printing process, any of the available FDM or TLP or any kind of process, we can print the mold on which we can have designed the prosthesis. So the challenge which we faced is about the using the 3D scanner, which is that time not available with us. So we try to find out the solution by using the phone. So we have developed the standard operating procedure, and we have compared that with the 3D model and the photogrammetric model as shown in this figure. So there is highly naked eye can identify the difference associated with it. So what we did, we used the DSLR printer for camera for that. So we took the started with the 400, 500 images for this, as we cannot ask the patient to be seated for the 400 or 500 photos. So we use the stone model of the same patient, which we have kept on a table or platform, and then we took the different photo in different dimension. We started with 400 plus photos, and we landed with the 30 photos, 60 photo, and 90 photos. So we compared the DSLR with the CT scan. We compared the Google Pixel with the CT scan. We compare the Samsung phone with the CT scan. We compare the iPhone with the CT scan. Then what will be the optimum number of photos that we can take? And we'll try to identify, quantify what should be the CAD modeling process. And not only we try to identify, we actually, after doing the CAD modeling and creating the STL format of that, we printed with our FDM printer, and we designed the prosthesis, and we did the evaluation of prosthesis produced with this our photogrammetric technique and the conventional techniques, and we find hardly there is some difference. And whatever the difference are there, it is only from the engineering perspective, but it is fairly acceptable with the clinical aspects. It is a by clinician. So this is one more project which I'm just keeping all. This is one project where they are using, it is a startup which is associated with our Bionis Center, and they have produced the device for the sleep apnea by using the DLP PSLA printer. So they scanned it, and then they designed the tray or appliances for sleep apnea patient, which will give the artificial airway for the sleep apnea. I think we are about to resource to time, so I'm just taking to in some fast forward way. And this is one more model which is basically my company. Admin Technovations is my company. I am a co-founder and Abhijit is a co-founder. We are fortunate and proud that we both are the alumni of GHRCE. And we in 2018 or 19 we started a company with direct big funding. So we try to address to a device to develop a device which can identify blockages in between the AT tube. So we designed the complete device. We did the programming, we did the electronic part designing, we did the lab testing and all. The outer casing and everything, the which will give the good feel of product is produces by using the 3D printing process. So till date, we actually completed the pilot clinical trial and validation with the 3D printed pod by using the FDM printer. So I'm not going to the technicality because this FDP is basically on additive manufacturing. So in maybe in another session or next time when we met, I will talk more about that because this is our baby, so we know each and everything about this part. So we completed the clinical trial with the 3D printed product. Then this is one more company which is incubated with our Pioneer Center where they are using the DLP or SLA printer to produce the device which can is a point of care device for identifying or screening the cervical cancers. So the device which you see in lower right corner is basically a device which assistive device which can be attached with the phone with the right side of camera. They have developed their AI-based model which will take the photo from the cervix itself and identify whether there is a chances of cervical cancer or not. So major part of major invention and Dr. Anupama Bhute, who is a innovator and founder of the company Syndicolpo, is our faculty with more than 25 years of clinic experience, and she designed this entire device and she produced the POCs. She completed her clinical validation with the 3D printed part. So how 3D printing can be used for this uh, product development, medical product development, and how we can get it validated is basically that I would like to emphasize. I am not talking more on the technical part because I just want to stick with the 3D printing applications, which we already did or we are doing with our universities, our things. So this is one project which is funded by DST. So it is about the incubator development. So we are using, we are trying to develop an incubator which will identify non-contact basis vital parameter like heart rate variability, respiratory rate, respiratory variability, temperature, humidity, and anything. So the complete product which we are initially designed with the acrylic model, they are fabricated with the additive manufacturing. So this is about how we can use the additive manufacturing in biomedical scenario. There are few examples which I try to explain with you that how we are using the 3D printing for our product development, for our research and all. And the last part of this is about a message for you that the scientist is not a person who will give the right answer. He is the one who is asking the right question. So I am waiting for the right question from the great scientists from you peoples, and thank you very much. I'm opening the platform or forum for the discussion and question and answer. I am really happy to take questions if there.
It was really a nice presentation. So, dear participants, you can ask the questions in the comment box.
Thank you, Praveen sir. Thank you, Gopal sir, Rupesh sir, Tunkaskar sir.
Yeah.
Can
One
we
question
develop a
from
photo? Yeah,
yeah,
I'm just thinking that.
yeah.
Can
Yes.
can we develop a photoelastic model for experimental stress analysis using 3D printing? Yes, we can develop. It basically depend on what you are expecting with a photoelastic model. So we can print any kind of flexible model with that. So yes, it is possible. Only we need to think about the 3D printing process. As I already explained the variety of categories of 3D printing, you need to choose on that. Thanks, Dr. Abhinav. Thanks, Wasim Patel, sir. Thank you very much, Srinivasa, sir. I'm just trying to address how we can use the 3D printing with different biomedical application, which we are already doing. There are many projects which we are doing over here. And I request you just contact us and then we will definitely like to discuss some more. So any more questions? Thank you very much, Dr. Umira. Thanks, Dr. Maharajan. Okay, there is one question from Pratik Joshi, sir. Can you show any case study which you have already worked on, hands-on any software if possible? So the cases which I already showed or shared is the study which we did here. Starting from the cranioplasty, prosthesis and all, we actually delivered the implant or prosthesis to the patients. So these all are our studies. Yogesh Vanjari, sir, if possible, please update my attendance. Okay. Very nice session. Thank you, sir. I will try to share the PPT, but most of the work is actually what we are doing here. If it is required, I will share some of the PPTs to you. Rajendra sir. Anupama ma'am, attendance, okay. Any alternative for Mimic software? Yes, sir, there are many alternatives, but you need to find out the process. It is not that easy. Simpleware is one of the software which can come as an alternative for Mimic software, but the GUI or your user interface is somehow very difficult. But yes, there is alternative to the Mimic software. Simpleware is one of them. GeoMagic is one of them, and there are some more, but you need to find out them. Mimic is get very famous because they have the monopoly in that market. Yogesh Panjay, sir, thank you very much, sir. Ashish Desai, sir, I hope I answered your question. Thanks a lot, Ashish, sir. Chiranjeev, sir, thank you very much. Rupesh Kharbe, sir, has one question, sir. Is that just a minute? So we are all now looking for the organ transplantation that would really change the world where the organ donor are very serious. We hope all will look forward into it very soon. Thank you, sir. So my next lecture, which is planned, is based on my work in tissue engineering and organ regeneration. So I will take you through the tissue engineering, that how we can get the organ regenerated. No doubt it is very difficult to have the translations, but yes, in lab conditions, it is possible to, Sir Rupesh, sir. So Sayed sir, thank you for valuable session. If possible, please plan digital manufacturing session also in coming classes. This question is for Judge sir and Abhay sir. There is a nice session. Thank you very much, sir. Shilpa ma'am, Dr. Shilpa. Thank you very much, Dr. Shilpa.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh, for your wonderful session. It was really a session which was means a layman also can understand, because here participants are from all disciplines. So that's why I really like that you have taken them through the journey of from this very simple how they can understand the manufacturing processes, what type of manufacturing processes are available, and then how can they means make best use of this 3D printing. Really, that has helped the participants from all the disciplines to so that they are interested to know further. And for the digital manufacturing session, so already it is a part of digital manufacturing. Basically, it is vast area, and 3D printing itself is from digital manufacturing only. But I would definitely take care that some of the resource person will highlight it in more details about that digital manufacturing system. Yeah. So Sachin Banugar, I want to have your contact email, so you can type Ashutosh, even
Yeah,
though you
sure.
have shared in the first slide, but you can type it here.
I have given.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And Dr. Umera, I want that. Are you providing internship for biomedical engineers? Please.
So Dr. Umera, we are already providing internship. So from MIT ADT, there are many students are used to come for the internship. There is one more student from MIT who is going to complete her 6 month of project under my guidance in our center. So we welcome the student. However, there is we are very choosy in kind of things of selecting the interns and all. But that is what we require, because the team size is very limited with us, and I cannot give the more time to each and every intern. So we are very chosen that, but yes, we are open for taking the internship. You just send me a mail, we will definitely look into that. Maulali Sheikh sir. So this question is for Jaju sir.
Yeah. Definitely, we are already in process of collecting all the PPTs from the resource person, and as a part of this AICTE FDP, we shall be sharing the study material. Once we discuss with the resource person, whatever they have the copyrighted material, they can remove and share the PPTs with us, because that will be required for the AICTE FDP purpose also. And these videos will be already available on the YouTube. We will be sharing the link of these all videos, because it is mandatory for us to upload all the videos of the resource person. So don't worry about that. Basically, you make your understanding better and keep the contacts with you, so that you can develop your network with this resource person, and you grow in the biomedical field. That is our main aim. So I think there are no more questions, and all the participants are appreciating the presentation. So thank you so much, Ashutosh, for sharing your valuable insight. And we will have one more session from Dr. Ashutosh in this FDP again. And over to Nirvan sir.
Thank you, Abhishek.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bagde sir, for such an inspiring and comprehensive session. Your detailed insight into the application of additive manufacturing in the biomedical field have provided us a new perspective on how technology can transform into the healthcare practices. We are truly grateful for your time and sharing your valuable knowledge with us. We conclude this engaging session on additive manufacturing in biomedical applications. And
Thank you.
on the behalf of the organizing committee, I extend my sincere gratitude to my friend Dr. Ashutosh Bagde for his enriching contribution to this faculty development program. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Nilesh. Thank you, Jaju sir.
Thank
Sir.
you.
See you
Thank you so
soon.
much. Yeah. We'll meet again
Yes, sir, sure.
online in this FDP. Thank you.
It's my
Thank you.
pleasure to be
Yeah,
at
yeah.
GHRCE, being an alumni
Right.
of that. Yes, sir.
Right. Yeah.
Thank you.